All right, welcome back to another random review how-to. Today I'm showing you how to recover dining room cushions. So these are super old, older than I am, and we're gonna take that and make it look like this. Now, I watched a couple YouTube videos. There's some really good ones, but I didn't end up following any of them because when you get the fabric, and I think my fabric's a little thicker, so it's not as easy to pull. So I'm just gonna show you how I've done it for the 3 or 4 that I've already covered like this. But we're going to start off by talking about the tools that we're going to be using here. So what I got are some fabric scissors. Those come in handy. Some needle nose pliers, not necessarily to pull anything off of here. I'm actually leaving this on. But I put in some holder nails and then I like to rip them out with that. I got a staple gun. I bought this. It was about $40. I'll put a link down below to something. If I can find this exact one. I bought it on Ace Hardware, but I'll find something on Amazon that's just like this. If I can find this actual, this is Arrow, is the brand name on this staple gun. And then I went with these. This is the brand, I think, for Arrow. It's called 250. There's 5,000 of them in here. This is 3/8 of an inch thick. You can see it actually got some teeth on it, which is nice. The only thing I'll say is that the board I have on here, I don't know if you can see in this hole, but the board I got is probably about a 1/2 inch thick if I had to guess, maybe even a little more. So going into that board, these are going in some cases, but they're also kind of half of it's going in. So in addition to that, I got a hammer just to go around and tack them all in. So you're going to see me kind of pull a lot of nails in and put them out. The other thing you might want to grab is a tape measure if you're just kind of figuring out, if you don't know how much fabric you need. We had about 2 yards and I covered 4 of these cushions. So this size here is right around, we'll say 20 inches because I'm just going to square it off by 17. So 20 by 17. All I want my fabric to be able to do is come over this edge. I don't need a whole bunch of it like this. If you have it, it's okay because it does come in handy when you're getting in these corners to pull. So all I'm doing is just kind of centering this up. I'm going to find about 5 inches off of here and I'm going to cut it up and then cut it that way as well. The tip here with cutting, get a little bit going and then pinch it and get your blade in there and kind of pull it. The tighter you can pull it, the easier it is to cut. I'm not worrying too much about straight lines here. This is my last end of the fabric that I need. I just want to make sure when I go up to the edge here, I leave at least half more so I could do the other cushion there on the same size. There we go. Pull this fabric out. I'm gonna lay this over here. So there we have our fabric. So this is actually the top. This is the bottom. So what I like to do is I want to start on the front. So you can see the front of my chair there. That's where the front is. So that's the area I'm going to start in. Get it as centered as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to give myself at least enough room to come to like right here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my staple gun. I'm going to pop one in there at the top. And then what I like to do is pull this away from itself. So I'm pulling up top here away, pulling this towards. And what I want this to do is get super tight right on this edge. So I'm going to do that, pull it as tight as I can, then wrap it around. I'm going to pull it into myself so I know that I got as much of that slack off there as I can. I'm going to just pop in 1 nail right there. All right, so you can see it's just real tight on top, and that's what I was going for. So now that I got that part done, this is still my front. I like to think of it like this. If this is a square, from the center of, I'm going to pull all of my edges away. So if I could get it tight from this end right here, all the way to my almost my corner, I'm just going to pull that like that. I'm going to keep my thumb on it. I'm going to find that real tip there. I'm just going to start going right down. And then every couple, I like to let go, re-pull, hold it with my thumb. And when you get over this edge, the key here is I don't want any kind of slack here. So I'm making sure it's not bubbling. And then when I get to my edges, what I'm going to do is start to fold them over. But if I see that this nail, if I see a little lump start to come from that, don't be afraid to just yank that nail out, pull it again, staple it in, then staple around. You can't use too many staples. That's what I found. Same idea here. It just gets a little awkward too if you're right-handed or left. It's super hard for me to staple with my left hand. So pull this edge as far up as I can. I got a nice crease going. Nice and tight. I'll put my staples probably about every inch from each other. If I have to go back and add some, I'll do it. Again, I stopped, pulling it again away from that corner. And what it's doing here is it's giving me a nice edge. I can see a little slack there. I'm just going to pull that. Keep pulling, keep pulling. It's okay. I like to sometimes just get that corner going with that lump. You can see here, I got that little piece. So later on, I might go back and pull that if it doesn't tighten itself out. And I am sweating, just in case anyone was wondering. All right, so I got my edges in. Now I got that whole front framed. We're still super tight back here. Now I want to do these corners. And what I try to do is, I know I'm going to end up with a fold. I just don't want that fold to be over the edge. So I don't want the fold like this and then we pull it, because when you sit, you're going to see this front here. So I want to get rid of that as much as possible, which means I just got to pull it and hope that that crease happens behind the staple. So if I pull it here, I got a nice edge going. And then the nice thing about having an edge is you want to kind of almost pull it right towards the front, but you don't want to create a lump. You just want to pull it towards the front. And then in this spot, what I like to do is just pop a staple in there at the top. Now it's held in place. So now I can start working my next row. Again, pulling it towards the edges, away from itself, without creating a lump in the front or in the back. And I would be able to see this, but I'm going to go back and fix that at the end. So now I'm just going to keep folding over, keeping it tight. These are like stabilizer nails, we'll call them for me. Start going to that edge. Now I'm pulling all that away from me. There's the left hand staple. I was watching some ladies online do this and they make it look effortlessly. So if you're having a hard time following me, there's a ton of other good videos. But we can keep pulling tight, staple. Pull tight, staple. Pull tight. Now we're getting to another corner. So this is where you got to make a decision. Do I want to go half? This is about 3/4 of the way up. I like to get as much done evenly as I can when I'm going through this part. So I'll get my hammer nail, pull these in. Especially in this corner, they like to pop out. Just always check. If you see one coming out, don't be afraid. Just go in, hammer it in. So same thing here. I'm going to grab my edge, start to pull it towards the front. So you get nice and tight on that corner. Let's see, I have enough room to probably put one more in there. Now I'm going to pull and drop one right in there. Not on my finger. That would have been hilarious and bad. So now we're just going to keep going right around this edge. All right. So you see how there I started to get this flap. Definitely don't want that in there. So I'm just going to pull it away from itself, stretch it all the way back to here, and then grab that little bit that I can. Keep my fold right there, nice and tight on the edge there. Get as close to it as I can. I'll tell you, the first one I did took me about an hour. Ended up taking a lot of staples in and out. I wasn't sure. Since then, I've been able to get these done in about 10 minutes. This one's going to take a little longer because I'm trying to explain things as I go. But 10 to 15 minutes per cushion once you figure out your rhythm and what you want to do. So there we go. We're starting to get to the edge. I'm a little bit further on this side than I was on the other. That's okay. I'm just going to start working one edge in. Go ahead and do this other one. Same idea, I'm going to pull my slack away from there. Now I have just the back part here to do. You can see I got way more junk slack over here that I don't want compared to this side if I start to pull it. So what I need to do is just make sure that I'm, again, keeping those folds off of the edge, pulling back as far as I need to. I'm going to create another fold here. Like the way that looks. Keep my stabilizer in there. Now we can start to pull the rest of it. Just a lot of pulling, stretching, moving. Now this one's ready to come out because I need to be able to work this whole piece left to right to get this tight. So now I'm looking here. I want to make sure I'm not starting to bump up at all. It looks good. All right, so I'm going to start with this edge now. Same idea. I'm pulling my straight line towards the front. Tuck that under there. So there we go. Now I just got this little front strip here to do. Pull this whole section nice and tight. I'm going to go popping these. Oh, just like that. Out of nails. Next one started. And there you go. So, I like to check the top. See it's nice and tight. Make sure there's no bubbles in it. Edges look pretty good. Now what we have to do now is just go ahead and cut off this excess. So I'd like to leave probably another 1 to 2 inches here. So I'm just going to cut down. Start that. Now I'm going to just start to cut off this edge here. We're going to do this all the way around. All right. So now that I got all the excess cut off, you can see it still looks very sloppy. What I'm just going to do, again, check my edges, make sure nothing came loose. I'm going to pull in these edges, put a staple in, and just every couple here just to pull this back. It doesn't have to be perfect, it sits on the bottom. Some people will buy black felt and then cut it to this and then staple it so it's nice and clean. I don't care that much, so I'm not going to do it. My edges here, some of these have these little bubbles. I'll put just as many as I need to until I feel like it's secure. There we have it. Oh boy. I don't know how I got that on there already. Don't mind the stain. Looking good. All right. You go ahead and finish my last one here. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put them down below. Comments, make fun of me all you want. I don't care. That's how you do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. All right, so here you go. You can see the final product there. This was the other design type we did. Same fabric. So you can see how these look. We got 2 different styles there. We use this style for the end. 2 end chairs. We got our other kitchen table chairs out here, but turned out real nice. Pretty happy with that. I'd like to say we were going to get charged several $100s to have this done by somebody. It took me about 2.5 hours. The first chair took me the longest, but then after that, got it done. So there you go.